The boy opened his golden pupils. He saw a green color in the stone in front of him. It was an emerald. So even though he only had $3,000 on him, he still offered $4 million for the stone. At this moment, the rich kid beside him scoffed. "My friend, do you have that much money? You'd better go to the stalls to pick up the stone." Then he asked his assistant to raise the price to $5 million. But the young man also got carried away. He bit the bullet and asked for $8 million. His companions were stunned, rushed to stop him. I can tell you this stone looks good on the surface, but no one knows what it will look like when it's cut. If it doesn't turn out to be 2 inches thick, you'll be blind." At this point, the second-generation rich man is also a bit hesitant. It's not a question of money. It's about losing face if he loses the bet. The assistant beside him said confidently, "This stone must have at least 4 inches of green." When the second generation of rich man heard that, he immediately asked for $9 million. But this time, the boy did not follow. After all, we can't compete with him. Finally, he went to the waste rock area. He wanted to buy a low-priced stone for fun. He starts the golden cylinder again. This one looks pretty good, so he bought it with his entire fortune of $3,000. He's going to cut the stone on the spot. At that moment, the rich kid came to show off again. "You spend $3,000 and you want to pick it up? Gambling is different from antiquing." Who said that? Life is full of leaks. It's up to you whether you can find it or not. The man who spoke was a big shot in the jade industry. He took the stone and examined it carefully. The result is that he doesn't like it either. "Zhuang, you're not sure if you're going to be able to pick it up." But he smiled and said, "How do you know it's not good before you cut it?" Then he drew a line on the stone. Let the master follow the line to cut, and the rich kid watched from the back. Soon the first cut was finished. Sure enough, there wasn't even a single green hair. Even the first cut didn't produce any green hairs. What's the point of cutting it? Throw it away. The rich kid laughed, but he didn't panic at all. He asked the master to make a second cut. "I didn't expect it to be full green this time. It's worth about 100,000 yuan. It's not much, but it's still a small fortune." But he didn't want to stop. He asked the master to make a third cut. Everyone advised him to stop cutting. "Let's just stop. If everything collapses, he'll lose everything." But there was no stopping him. The master had to make another cut according to the young man's wish. After cutting it, they were shocked when they took a look. Behind this foggy crystal is a block of ice jadeite. Good green. Ha ha ha. Now the price soared to 18 million. The people next to him immediately rushed to buy it. At this point, the guy said to the rich kid, "Oh my god, this 3,000 yuan became 18 million. How many times has it doubled?" The rich guy feels like he's been slapped in the face. He immediately asked to open his 9 million stone. He wants to get his face back. A broken stone can be sold for $9 million. What's the secret inside? The rich kid demanded to decode the stone on the spot. Sure enough, the first cut is full green. Someone immediately offered $10 million to buy it. $10 million is fine. It's a net profit of $1 million. But he didn't care about the $1 million. He asked the master to continue cutting, because the jadeite underneath is even greener. Sure enough, after the second cut, the price skyrocketed. The price soared to $30 million. After all, $30 million is not an ice type. I'd sell it if I had to. The man who said it was Zhuang Rui, but if he didn't say anything. But when he said it, he made the rich kid angry. How can you and I be the same? Keep cutting. The cutter had to do as he was told and continued with the third cut. But just before he opened it, Zhuang Rui said, "It's collapsed." When my partner heard that, he rushed to check it out. Sure enough, there was nothing. So that's all there is. The buyer who offered 30 million just now took a look at it. He shook his head and left. It's a good thing we didn't make a deal just now. Gambling is really a matter of one cut for the poor and one cut for the rich. At this moment, Zhuang Rui went up to comfort him and said it's fine. It's not a big deal for Mr. Su, but the second generation of rich people can only take it on the chin. It's just 30 million. I'll give it to you to play with. After saying that, he left with a gray face. But in fact, all this was expected by Zhuang Rui before the auction. He used gold and copper to see. The jade in this stone is only 1 inch. It's not worth much. So when he saw the rich kid looking down on him, he deliberately raised the price. So he made the rich kid pay 9 million for the stone. When he was picking up the stone, he deliberately provoked him. He made him make a third cut. In the end, he lost all his money. You don't say that Zhuang Rui looks like a lamb. He's quite a fox when he's cunning. But what happened to his golden pupils? It all started with a robbery a few days ago. That night, Zhuang Rui was on duty at the antique shop. Suddenly, some robbers came in. During the fight, Zhuang Rui's eyes were accidentally scratched by the antique fragments. When he woke up again, his eyes were not only fine. A miraculous thing happened. The boy's eyes are covered with gauze, but he could see through the gauze and through the concrete wall. He saw the nurse next door without her underwear. This scared the guy to death. He thought he was hallucinating after his eye injury. Then a friend came to see him and threw him an apple. He was just about to eat it. He could see through the skin that the inside of the apple was bad, and there was a worm crawling inside. He didn't believe it, so he bit into it and saw the worm. Then he looked up. He saw a big mole on the doctor's face. Under the doctor's mask, there was a big mole. He asked the doctor to take off the mask. Sure enough, the mole was exactly the same as the one he had just seen. Not only that, when he returned to the antique shop where he worked, he was able to see the antique's past life through its surface. Juan Roy wondered how a scratch on his eye could give him special powers. How did he get supernatural powers from a scratch? When I got home, he took out an old object and showed it off to Juan Roy. He said he spent 60,000 yuan to find this treasure. This little bottle is worth at least a few $100,000. Juan Roy took the bottle and activated his golden pupil to take a look. The date of manufacture is a month ago. It's just a craft and it's mass-produced. He didn't believe me. He had to drag him to the antique market to sell it, but they told him to leave. You'd better look elsewhere. No, I haven't made an offer yet. Young man, don't delay my business. Go, 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 go. Let's go somewhere else. He went to a second house. He's still looking mysterious. Boss, I've got something 100 years old. Are you interested? When the boss heard that, his eyes lit up. He asked him to take it out and look at it. But after looking at it, he held up 5 fingers. $5. Juan Roy laughed, and Harry pulled him up and was about to move on to the next one. But then Juan Roy suddenly saw the gourd in the owner's hand. It's a valuable old thing, so he asked him if he'd sell it. The owner asked for $2,000. He obviously doesn't know what he's talking about. Of course Roy was happy to do so, but he was stopped by his friend from buying a broken gourd for $2,000. Are you stupid? He dragged him away. The boss stopped him and gave him $600 for it. Juan Roy quickly took out the money and gave it to the boss. At that moment, the rich kid's girlfriend also saw the gourd, so he offered 10,000 yuan to buy the gourd. When I saw that the big shot was coming again, he offered 50,000 yuan. Fine, 50,000 is 50,000. It's just a black gourd. But Juan Roy said it's not black, it's red. You've got a problem with your eyes. It's obviously black. Tell me where it's red. Maybe it's really red. The man who spoke was Uncle Tay, a master of the antique world. He was just passing by, so we asked him to take a look, but he only took one look at the gourd. He offered 100,000 for the gourd. The rich kid laughed at the price of 100,000 for this black gourd. Are you all trying to fool me? It's not black, it's red. I'm sorry, am I colorblind? Uncle Tay saw that he didn't believe me. He ordered someone to bring copper oil and gauze paper and rubbed it lightly. The red color immediately appeared. Uncle Tay said this is from the Guanchu period. This is the famous San Halu gourd. Its body is relaxed and its skin is smooth and solid. It's comfortable for grasshoppers to live in. The sound is mellow and loud. It was the most sought-after gourd at the time. That's why the price was less than 100,000 yuan. When the boss heard this, he said, I'm such a fool. I gave away 600 yuan for such a good treasure. At this time, the second-generation rich man said 300,000 this gourd. I want to take it. But the boss offered 600,000 to take the gourd back. 800,000. 800,000 can. The boss saw that he couldn't put up a fight and turned around to leave. In just a few minutes, $600 has turned into $800,000. This is too good. 2 people just like this earned the first bucket of money. We will be rich people if you also have a gold bucket. What would you do with it?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out.